in terms of title count in women's. Catherine Parento, and many of those golds she won with Annalie Waters. She has 51 golds to Annalie Waters, 141. Angie Walker back to serve first. Nice opening sequence for Angie. Originally from Vancouver, Canada. 23 years old, has a tennis background as well, playing with their presenting sponsor paddle.
It's always good to get the goose egg off the scoreboard early if you're playing Annalie in singles.
Right.
Many players have not been able to get rid of the goose egg in that first game, being a little nervous, but always good to get to one. Oh, it's a nice shot.
Nice. Notice a different serving nuance for Annalie Waters. She tweaks that a little bit, it seems, every now and again, and she's doing a little bit more of a walk-up serve. I'd love to get your thoughts on that next time she loads back up at the service line.
Yeah, you definitely see a little change up in her service motion, and I think she's going for a little bit more momentum, a little bit more rhythm going into it, similar to in tennis when you bring that back leg up close to the line. A lot of people find that they have better rhythm that way, so I think she's trying to do a similar thing with her serve. Wow, look at that wind blow.
Wow. Waters stays with it, and she'll blast it back to the corner. Earlier you were talking about the OG list. Is Waters on that list for you?
There is no doubt she's on that list, yes. I mean, it's hard to believe because she was, however old she was, it felt like she was 10. But when she first started, I can't remember exactly when it was when I first saw her at a pro tournament. I know I saw her in 2019, but it was probably before that. So I would definitely consider her to be in that OG group.
17 years old. It's pretty wild to think about that. So yeah, she would have been 10 years old at that time. If it was 7 years ago, if your cutoff is 2018.
Yeah, if our math is right. It felt like Annalie was 12 for like 4 years at one point.
What was she like back in that time when she was just a 10-year-old?
Just a 10-year-old. I didn't know Annalie, or barely knew her at that age. She wasn't winning as many titles back in those days, but you definitely knew as she was coming up, she was going to be something special as she started to push the top players even at a very young age.
Perfectly placed down the line. Waters forces the timeout called on the opposing side. 5-2 the score now for Annalie Waters. Another lead, only get one per game per the new rules. Inside out of the air, so swift. As she takes that ball and whips it wherever she wants it to go.
Take two.
Back to the same corner for Waters.
Yeah, something I'd like to see some of the girls try against Annalie. Not that it would necessarily work per se, but I would like to see it tried. Try it is hit her a little bit more junk, to where hit her some high balls, hit her some low balls, hit her some slices, even some short balls, to where she's not getting the same look on every single ball.
That's a great point.
Because if she gets the same look all the time, she's just going to groove her strokes. And if it's a competition on who can hit the ball harder, Annalie's going to win it every time. And somebody like Brooke Buckner, she strikes the ball so cleanly that when she plays Annalie, it's almost, it's beautiful to watch because you see such clean ball striking. But Annalie always wins that battle. And where I think that Brooke has had success is when she's kind of taken a little bit off in certain situations. And yeah, stay true to your strengths, but you also know that Annalie does that better than you do. So you have to throw some wrinkles in. And I'd love to see what would happen if more of the girls implemented that strategy to see if you could work out or unlock certain things that maybe could be considered a small weakness. It's very hard to find in the Annalie armor.
Game point quickly for Waters. Threw a lot of spin to the corner on the backhand side. Polished it off with a clean volley, 11-2.
New Balkan ball.
Looking to defend her title from a couple of weeks ago in Mesa.
0-0.
It's an incredible match between she and Brooke Buckner.
Point. 1-0.
And Angie Walker was almost surprised midway through that sequence as Waters gave her a ball right back and slowly opened up the angle, but
just prolong the agony.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned the effortless power from Angie Waters. Curious to know where that power comes from.
So part of it is her timing is sensational, but pay attention a little bit more to where she times the ball. Her weight transfer into the court, in singles in particular, is phenomenal. So what I mean by that is she moves into the court at a diagonal. So if she has to move into a ball, that one's more down the middle. But this one right here, see how early she takes that ball? And she creates angles that way and gets the ball on the opponent sooner, whether they're at the baseline like that last one or coming in to try to volley. And with that weight transfer comes that timing. It really accentuates that timing even more. And it's very rare that she appears on her back foot. And I think that's something that she's really cultivated with her mom. Her mom, I know, really encourages that as much as possible. Take the ball early, so similar to a tennis player who takes the ball on the rise. And because of that, her timing is second to none out here, men or women. I mean, she just transfers all her weight into the shot, and she lifts herself off the ground oftentimes because she puts so much power on it. So it's really, really, really fun to watch.
So if you're somebody trying to apply that at home, you're saying to take the ball before it's at its full apex, right? So how do you know what the proper timing is with taking the ball early?
So a lot of it is the direction that you move to. So it's one thing to do it when you're rallying down the middle in practice. A lot of times you want to practice this on a ball that is traveling away from you. So let's say you're standing in the center of the court. If somebody's hitting it into the right or left corner, instead of running sideways along the baseline, if you're on the baseline itself, you would move into the court to cut the ball off before it reaches the baseline. So I feel like the first step is very important. It's something you're taught in tennis, especially if you have an attacking mentality. You really need to cut off the angles, and it's even more important on the tennis court because it's larger. You have more area to cover, so the more you cut off the angle, the less out of position you become. But she's really applied that very, very well, specifically on the singles court in pickleball. Like that one, she takes so early with the backhand, and now you're just defending the whole time.
She does make you feel that way, doesn't she? Waters surprised by the out call by Angie Walker.
It's 7-0. Time in. 7-0.
Beautiful approach again from Waters.
Yeah, and if you notice, that was more of a sneak attack. As soon as she saw Angie's head go down, she actually moved into the court, knowing she was probably going to flip that ball across court and taking it out of the air, taking time away. So you can see the theme here with Annalie's game, and she always tries to take time away from you. Whether it's with her ground strokes or coming into volley, she always takes the opportunity to cut your time.
It's a great way to put that, because that's how it seems to feel for every opponent that she's playing against, no matter who it is.
Yeah, and it's very hard to disrupt because this is sort of how the women's game is played, where it's a lot of baseline ground strokes. And she's so good and so solid off of both, and she takes time away. It's such a hard game style to beat.
Side out. Time 0. Point. Match point.
Match point. Pick a point for Annalie Waters.
Side out. 0-10. Side out.
Yeah, where I think it's really important if you want to beat Leigh is you have to hold on to the ball for long periods of time because you know she's going to go on runs on her serve. And obviously that's much easier said than done, but I think that Leigh is so dangerous from the baseline. You got to keep up with her in the sense that you can't make a lot of sloppy errors when you're serving. You got to make her play and hopefully go on some extended runs. That's too good.
Oh, too good. A scrappy point to close it out. Waters takes hold of a pickle performance in game 2 to conserve the energy as she moves on to the quarterfinal rounds here.